go. Get that ready.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning, everybody, or greetings for whatever time you might be watching us, because we're people watching from all over the world. It is a sacred Sunday, and I'm feeling very inspired. I'm here in Sedona, Arizona. Beloved brother Omashar and I already did a beautiful meditation and opening for Sri and Kira down in Ecuador. And now it's time for our Sacred Sunday show. And we've got a really beautiful show planned. I see some of our wonderful friends that are part of the Global Peace Tribe, Eleanor and Karen and other friends that are with us. And I want to welcome everybody watching on Facebook. Thank you, John and Summer Raymer. Through their Sign network, that's spelled S-I-N-E, we reach out to 100 different Facebook groups and pages. And so if you're watching us on Facebook right now, welcome. And I want to invite you to come into our Zoom room. We have an amazing duo that we're going to be talking to, and we're going to be learning all about shamanism, plant medicine, indigenous wisdom, and there's going to be an opportunity for a lot of question and answer. So come on into our Zoom room, and it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, like just what's behind me, but add a .com, and register. And when you register, you're going to receive the links to all of our shows for the rest of the year. For those of you who don't know, we do 3 shows every weekend: Friday night, Saturday night, and this show, the Sacred Sunday morning show. And so when you register, you'll get all of the posters. That's the show we did Friday night. That's the show we did last time, which was really, really fun, working with the Illuminate Film Festival. And then, of course, our show today. You also, when you register, every Monday we send out the replay links so you can watch the recordings. So join us. All right, it is my honor to introduce Oscar Miro Quesada. He's been on our show a couple of times when we were Saturday Night Alive, and he's an extraordinary gentleman, and he's going to get us off to a start with an invocation and meditation. Thank you, Oscar.
Hatun wilka tiayukui runakunap suyakuning. Welcome, hope of the people. Let us bring ourselves fully present in this exquisite moment of awakening, of heart, of expansion of mind, and of quieting of the restlessness that characterizes our world being midwifed into a new way of experiencing the divinity which is our birthright. So I invite you to close your eyes, bring your awareness to your breath. Allow your breathing to become effortless and natural through the nose at your own pace and rhythm. The tip of your tongue gently in contact with your upper palate. Your jaw, mandible, relaxed, loose. Your shoulders relaxed. Your body willing, surrendered to the blessings of perfection within this present moment. Feel your breathing as a healing salve, harmonizing and restoring balance, equilibrium in your life. Knowing that with every breath you connect with all our good sisters and brothers, children and elders, all sentient beings that populate the multiverse of which we are all children. Connect with those of your past and those that are becoming allies of this great work we share of the future. And within this present moment, your heart opens, expands, radiating its light forward into the world. Feel yourself dissolving and merging into a field that is born of the highest, most elevated expression of light and love at the source of what it means to be human. You are the light, and the light is you. Remember this. Experience it. Be it. Light. 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 Mentally repeat the following words. I am. We are. Here. Now. All. One. Light. Within. One more time, please. Let us repeat mentally in thought. I am. We are. Here. Now. All. One. Light. Within. Pause and feel, allowing that affirmation to crystallize in consciousness, aligning you with the great work of transforming the world through transforming yourself. To the above, may it inspire us. To the below, may it sustain us. To the behind, may it protect us. To the before, may it guide us. To the left, may it purify us. To the right, may it strengthen us. To the within, may it remember us. Exhale all the air from your lungs. Hold on the exhalation. Gently inhale through the nose, filling your lungs to capacity. Retain, crystallizing our collective experience in consciousness. And on the count of 3, blow forth to the above in Aini, in sacred reciprocity, our gratitude and generosity as servants of the light. 1, 2, 3, Fukui. So mote it be. Namaste.
In the air is a dream so old. It is born of our longing for a kingdom pure as gold. A kingdom pure as gold. Told by the ancients is a story true of a new world that's birthing in the hearts of me and you. The heart of me and you. Echoes of Eden and the Holy Grail, sent from the heavens, a message through the veil, a message through the veil. And so come all ye who are cold and lost, to a new way of being and a kingdom pure as gold. A kingdom pure as gold. Da, 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 da. Avalon. Da, 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 da. Avalon.
you so much. I see Eleanor and Roger and Bonnie and everybody twinkling you. Thank you so much, Omashar. It was
Thank you.
perfect song to immediately follow Oscar's incredible opening meditation. And just to remind everybody, we can support Omashar by going to bandcamp.omashar and getting his albums. And see that little blank spot? That's where the new one's going to go very soon.
It's called Lightness of Being.
Yeah, so I'm seeing right now, I'm visualizing lightness of being, filling in that spot. Thank you, Omashar. And of course, we'll hear from you a little bit later on. And what a beautiful opening meditation. You know, I've been doing this show for 2.5 years, and I always love when we have a guest who can lead a meditation. And that was, as he was doing that, I was thinking, my God, that's the whole journey. Let's just stay with that. So, and of course, this is our friend and our primary guest today, Oscar Miro Quesada. And by the way, Kristen Hoffman just sent a message sending her love. She saw that you're on the show. She's, of course, a regular here, Oscar, and co-hosts with me sometimes. And she said, oh my God, Oscar's on your show. Send him my love. So already the appreciations are coming in. But for those who don't know Oscar, he's a respected Kamaska curandero, and I'm so apologize for not saying it properly. He's originally from Peru, and he's the co-founder of the Heart of the Healer Shamanic Mystery School. And we're going to learn all about what that really means, what that is. It's a traditional cross-cultural shamanism, and really fascinating to me about how we can take these indigenous shamanic principles and apply them to our lives. Oscar is also an internationally acclaimed teacher and healer. He's an earth honoring ceremonialist and an author. In fact, he has a brand new book. We're going to learn all about the book today. He's also a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Network Circle, which I'm honored to be a part of. And of course, Kristen, who I just referred to. And I thought we had such a great time, Oscar, with Sophia. We met her for the first time on Friday night. And so we decided to encourage Sophia to join us as well. And just a reminder for anybody who wasn't there on Friday night when we introduced her for the first time to our audience, she's a licensed psychotherapist. She specializes in healing complex and unresolved childhood trauma and its impact on adult functioning. She's built her practice of almost 30 years of in-depth psychotherapy into weaving it with shamanic practice, healing, and indigenous tribal medicine work. So I thought it was quite appropriate. To be honest, our planned guest, Guinevere, came down with COVID, but we loved Sophia, and I knew we had Oscar coming in, so I thought, all right, let's see what happens when we bring these two people together. So let me just start by asking both of you, how can we take what you are learning from our indigenous elders and the indigenous wisdom and apply it to the process of awakening, to our process of really becoming fully awakened human beings? I'll ask Oscar first and then come to you, Sophia.
Well, a response to that question would be simply by teaching love by the way we live. The bottom line is that shamanism, in my humble experience, is a labor of love. It was born from the first human impulse to care for something as much or more than one's own self. For the well-being and the flourishing of health and of community on Earth among all our relations requires a deep sense of compassionate service and presence as a vessel, as a hollow bone as a conduit for the expression of the divine through one's words, thoughts, actions, and most importantly, the beautification and sanctification of life upon this good planet we know as Gaia Pachamama. So it all requires bringing forth our essence as loving souls into the world and dance your beauty wildly.
I love that.
Oh, I understand it.
Oh, I love that. I love your passion. I love how, as you speak, Oscar,
Sacred relationship.
good relationship. You embody your words. You know, there's some people when they speak, it's just words. As you speak, I feel it. It's like so embodied in your being. It's really beautiful. Well, Sophia, same question. What have you learned from our Indigenous elders, our Indigenous wisdom, and how do you apply it, or do you suggest applying it to us as we awaken?
Okay, can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
You're good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Gosh, I've been in this biz for quite a long time. And if I were to say the most important thing for me personally that I've learned is my relationship and how important that relationship is to the natural world. And as I mentioned on Friday, there is, at least among those that I've studied with or sat with or been a student of, the idea that our health as a planet, as a collective, as an individual, is directly in relationship to the health of the natural world. And so I have been in a lot of conversations around what does that actually mean? And as I mentioned on Friday, there is this kind of idea that the industrialized world wants to dominate the natural world, wants to strip it of its resources for its own, we might say, selfish use, versus indigenous people are about being a guardian, cultivating and honoring the natural world. And I really believe this, that our health on the planet is directly related to the health of the plants and clean water and our forests and so on. Because when we're disconnected from that, there comes this wounding, in my opinion, that there's so much pain around this notion of being separate and not connected. And so I love what Oscar said. It's beautiful. It's inspiring. I feel very open in my heart. And I want to keep doubling down on my connection to the natural world. It was the very first place I ever experienced myself as I understand what's authentic to me. I remember as a very small child wanting always to be in beautiful gardens, having a great appreciation for the flowers, the buds, the whole process. I didn't really know what this meant. I used to pick the prettiest little petals from the prettiest little flowers in my mother's garden, and I would put them in a Dixie cup, and I would add water from a garden hose, and I would make what I used to refer to as a mixture. And somehow, I mean, I didn't drink it, I just did this little exercise. This made me feel connected in a way that nothing else did. I know it probably sounds a little silly, but I remember being 5, 6 years old and always making my little mixtures and wanting always like this spiritual hunger to be in nature, to be in the natural world. So I think that shamanism is directly, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be, Oscar, I'm sure you would agree, to our relationship to the health and well-being of everything that's growing on the planet.
Certainly, it is. It is the estrangement from the sacred dimensions of life that is at the root of all of our problems, really, as a humankind. So I agree wholeheartedly with you that communion with nature, communion with creation, communion with the living, sentient, pulsing field of creative possibility and diverse expressions of life on this planet is fundamental for restoring earth regenerative living and reverence on the part of humankind for the sacred gift that is life. Now, as you well said, as a child, we are not contaminated yet. We are not influenced and conditioned by the necessity to protect ourselves from the power of fantasy and imagination and dreaming and all of these things that are at the root of a creative impulse to make the world a better place. So I feel that the more we can encounter the natural world as children, as you did in your example of picking the petals of the flower, the more internalized one's realization that I am not separate, that I am whole, I am complete, I am one with the earth herself. A sunset, a sunrise, the sound of a newly born infant, or witnessing the birth of a child or of any animal species, brings you into an experience of shamanic reverence and an acceptance that life is in fact miraculous, and it is our duty to maintain it in a manner that celebrates its sanctity and its beauty and medicine for our lives. So I'm totally with you, my good sister. We have a lot in common.
It's amazing how things work out. Just the synchronicity of it. By the way, in honor of you, Oscar, this is my Peruvian poncho. I've been to Peru twice, and I got this in Iquitos. So, and you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but when I was there, it was part of a fundraising trip for Roxanne Kramer, who protects the pink river dolphins. And so, anyway, it's an interesting segue because you're talking about nature, and that reminds me of my trip to this amazing woman, Roxanne, who protects pink river dolphins from poachers. And so I was thinking of the juxtaposition between what you were both speaking about, remembering our childlike innocence, and yet part of the awakening journey as adults is we go sometimes through a crucible of shame as we come into the awareness of how we have not treated Mother Earth kindly, or how we have not treated, you know, how men have not treated our sisters properly, or how we have not treated the planet properly, or each other properly. And that crucible of shame is like the exact opposite of the childlike innocence that you speak of. And of course, I know that, Sophia, you do wonderful work in helping people with that. So my next question to both of you, and a reminder to everybody that after this, I'm going to take questions from the audience. What is a tool that you can provide? Obviously, we're not going to do deep trauma therapy today, but what's a tool to help us manage any guilt or shame we might have within us, and to come back to the childlike innocence of which you were speaking?
Do you want to go first, Sophia?
I can, or if you would prefer to, I certainly defer to you and your wisdom.
As you wish, I will comply. When we surrender the need to figure it all out and cultivate the ability to let it all in, our life becomes a healing dance of celebrating the fact that we are not who we are. Rather than saving, our world needs loving. That said, the greatest tool or awareness that I use myself to bring me into that place in which there's no shame or guilt of the past or fear or anxiety about the future, in which one can become totally present in the blessing of perfection of the now, is the breath, is our breath. It is that ebb and flow, that expansion and contraction, that rhythm that is shared by everything that is born of creation's dreaming. It is the great swaha of the Hindus, the great Vaida of the Andean peoples, that great breath in and breath out. And at that little point in between is infinity. It's where you become one with all that is. Therefore, the longest journey, as some of you know, it's a pretty common cliche now that we will make, is from here to here, from the head to the heart. Letting go of all our drunken monkey mind, stinking thinking types of predilections, and dying to one's own ego, letting go of one's own sense of self-importance. And doing that, you open up to a state of awe and wonder and amazement, as if the world is something new, just as if you've been reborn as a child. And as a child, everything seems like a playground. It is scintillating and attracting, and it's beautiful. It's like grabbing keys and dangling them in front of a baby and seeing them freak out and be so excited about the sound of the keys and then disappearing. It's like a game of hide and seek. It's what I experience when I'm in that space of purity, when I'm in that space of not trying to analyze, to understand, and to overthink the reasons of why I wasn't the way I was earlier that I am now. And I let myself just remember that I, capital, am, capital. Therefore, all is well with me, and all is well with the earth as well. So, in the words of the Venerable Sakyamuni Buddha, when we understand, things are just as they are. When we don't understand, things are just as they are. Cultivating that ability is the key, in my experience, my good brother Scott, to living without shame and guilt.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Oscar. Thank you. Let's all breathe that in before we move to Sophia. You know, this is one of those shows that I'm so glad that we record these. You can find it on Facebook. You'll also be able to find it on a YouTube channel tomorrow. This is one of those shows we're going to want to go back and watch. We're going to want to record and listen to his opening meditation and the wisdom that's being shared. Thank you so much, Oscar. Sophia, what would you like to share?
Okay. First of all, I always like to take notes as we go when I'm in session with a patient or during these kinds of discussions. And Oscar, thank you so much. That was so very beautiful. And I wrote down so many of the things that you said that I talk about with people every day. In childhood, there is this awe and wonder. Everything is like, wow, wow, wow. This is so cool. This is so neat. This is like, oh, so beautiful. And I believe that our life is enhanced. Our life is best spent understanding that child's play is everything. It's not supposed to stop. We're not supposed to grow up and get older and stop playing or disconnect from awe and wonder. That's kind of like the everything. And so when I consider somewhat therapeutically guilt and shame, what I've come to understand is that guilt is the felt experience of failing to meet the expectations of others, and shame is the felt experience of failing to meet the expectations of yourself. And in these two places, I found that people that are living from their traumas or their unhealed wounds, whether they're conscious of them or not, typically feel not good on the inside. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't wake up every day and go like, wow, I'm filled with awe and wonder with myself in the natural world. They don't feel good at all. Hence, we have lots and lots of addiction. And so the idea, as I've kind of come to see it through my lens, is that that person who does not feel good about themselves, who does feel disconnected, who is living inside of a belief like there must be something wrong with me, I'm somehow not enough, or there's something not right about me as I am, then let's say they set an expectation, typically quite an unrealistic expectation, as an opportunity to feel better about themselves. And then they fail to meet the expectation because it's unrealistic from the jump. Then they feel more shame. Then they set an even more unrealistic expectation, and so on. And this thing is like a hamster wheel that a person really never is able to get off. And if we're talking about guilt, again, like psychotherapeutically or clinically this way, if one feels guilt about the failure to meet the expectations of the other, the implication here is that other people are entitled to set expectations for you. And so where is that kind of idea of what is true for me? And that's not always going to match up with the expectations that others will set for you. So I kind of believe that this idea of surrendering into the deeper self, which is what you're talking about, Oscar, it's kind of like another piece of the everything. Except a lot of times people equate surrender with giving up, surrender with failure, surrender with losing. Except I think, Oscar, when you and I speak around surrender, what we're speaking about is relaxing all notions, emotions, ideas, or beliefs that you can control anything, that you actually are able to manipulate the flow of life. So when I say surrender, it's the recognition that we need to meet life on life's terms. And if we can do that, then we can begin to access the portal that takes us into flow. And then flow is the everything. It's good, it's bad, it's up, it's down. It is what it is. And so it's not about avoiding adversity or challenge. It's about having the toolkit. It's about recognizing that one is capable of navigating whatever it is that life is bringing. To me, that's a big piece of the surrender. And then when you were talking, Oscar, about that moment of infinity and eternity in the breath, what I often say to people is you have to slow down. You have to begin to start to check in with yourself, to not move around the world or move around your daily life so impulsively, so rapidly. So how do we slow down when we're sort of hardwired at this point to speed up? Because everything is moving at warp speed right now. So I always talk about you take a breath, but you have to take a breath between the breath, which is, I think, what you're referring to is that moment, that eternal moment. So you can't really take a breath between the breath, but conceptually, I think that's the moment that you and I are both speaking of. And then I always want to help people align head, heart, and belly. And so often I find people's heads are over here, their hearts are over here, and their belly's someplace. Sometimes we can't even find it. So you have to bring everything into congruent alignment, where what you think, what you feel, and what you believe are all lining up. And so people can come to this work quite fragmented. So that's something that I think is very important. And I will often tell the people that I'm working with, I'll ask them a question and they'll, I don't know, I need to think about that. And I always say, this isn't a thinking answer. This is a feeling answer, because if we can feel, we can drop in more deeply. And so one of my mantras, when I came out of a medicine ceremony many years ago, when I was working with 5-MeO DMT, the first words out of my mouth were, I came out and I said, remember, surrender, allow, receive. And this has been this kind of ongoing mantra for me, and I'll share it with anybody that wants to listen to that. So that's kind of what I think is so important here. This remember, surrender, allow, receive. It's kind of like, again, I always like to talk about all the pieces that make up the everything.
Beautiful. Thank you. Remember, surrender, allow, receive. Beautiful. Maybe almost sure I can make a song out of that.
I think I said it wrong. I think it's actually surrender, remember, allow, receive. And I liked this so much. I had a T-shirt made up, and it was I had it printed on the back of the T-shirt.
Pop it into the chat box. Pop it into the chat box.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to start getting questions from our audience. We've got someone from actually on Facebook, Holly. This is interesting. It might be a little controversial. This is for you, Oscar, so I'm going to bring you on camera with me here. Holly writes, I grew up in the psychedelic 60s. As a teenager, my first experiences with drugs was LSD, and it was very positive. But then in the 70s and 80s, the drugs that came in were synthetics, and I watched many of my friends destroy their lives through cocaine. There are certainly those drugs that have been very much about awakening, and there have been other drugs that have been very devastating. I have concern now that there is such a big movement towards plant medicine, and every other evening, some shaman is leading a plant medicine journey. To what degree do you have concern about this being dangerous? And to what degree do you see this as an overwhelmingly positive part of our awakening?
Holly, you're not alone in having these concerns, as do I. Just to dovetail with what Sophia mentioned about surrender, because it ties into my response, because I never give answers, I respond, I reflect back, because I have no answers, I just have reflections. So therefore, the surrender part is, in my experience, is a letting go of the craving for approval and control, which is so characteristic of our modern, postmodern psyche, needing to be famous, needing to be something. And plant medicines, properly used, dissolve that need. They basically vaporize that ego mind necessity to nurture itself as something special or better than the other. And it's fundamental in our evolution as a soul to let go of that fixation with the outside world's recognition of who you are that provides meaning to your life. In other words, Dr. Seuss has a very, very good little saying, the children's author. He says, those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. In other words, anybody who has an opinion of you that's negative, they shouldn't be part of your formula of interpersonal relationships. They serve nothing in terms of your own growth. The only reason we don't feel enough is because we forgot that we're inherently whole, complete, perfect as we are. So therefore, our plant allies allow us in a progressive manner, when used according to a standard lineage, because I am not advocating the use of any plant sacraments or any form even of laboratory elaborated entheogenic substances to be used randomly. On the contrary, they can be devastating to the lives of many that have predispositions toward depersonalization episodes or other forms of psychotic um, problems. So therefore, it needs to be done in a very sacrosanct ceremonial context for it to truly bring in the wisdom of the ancestral past that saw its beginnings into the life of the participant in these ceremonial acts. Yes, sadly, we are an over-medicated society worldwide. Whether we're in developed nations of the West or in developing nations in the far remote areas of this world, everybody's looking to escape. Everybody's looking to have that respite from the turmoil and the hatred and the dissonance that surrounds one's struggle to survive and provide for their families. The world is not an easy place to be in. Here in the modern Western world, where we can sit in these Zoom calls and create a field that feeds the Akashic noosphere and will eventually trickle down into the lives of the 8 billion people that we're on, is good medicine. But not everybody has reached the point where they can wake up and say, I can plant my seed as somebody that does not live from a place of fear and contribute to the larger global expansion of human consciousness based on light, love, altruism, and service that is not born of my own personal need for survival. And therefore, our plant allies are very good friends when it comes to reaching that ability to share one's own innate beauty and medicine as a source of love and light in the world. So yes, if you are going to go ahead and partake of any type of entheogenic, mediated, expanded sense of self, not just of consciousness, but of total self, capital S, it should be done, in my humble opinion, with a seasoned practitioner and maestro or maestra of these traditions in their place of origin, whether it's a country or some tribal nation within a remote part of this world, but make the pilgrimage, endure the hardships, go through what's necessary for your pre-ceremonial dismemberment before you even get there. Go through the crap, go through the pain, allow yourself to feel lost on your way there. And when you get there, your vulnerability, your defenselessness will be all the more of an ally for your own medicine transformation when you do show up to the place with a trusted elder who knows how to call on the spirit of the plant, not just the alkaloid, not just what is in its chemistry, but on the consciousness of the plant, on its sentience. And that is the medicine. That is good for the world and good for the individual such as yourself, Holly. That's my response.
Boom. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Again, I invite everybody, because most of us know a lot of people that are doing a lot of plant-based ceremonies now. And what he just shared, the discernment, the suggested discernment that you just provided, Oscar, that's really powerful. Don't just, oh yeah, hey, this Friday night, we're all going to get together and do ayahuasca with a shaman. But it's like, hey, really make the journey, which I know Sophia has done that. She's made journeys to the land, to the place, and yeah, anyway, that was powerful. You know, while we've got Oscar, there's something very exciting. He's got a new book out, and in a moment, I'm going to have him tell us all about it. And it's called Shamanism: Personal Quests of Communion with Nature and Creation. It's available for us to order via Amazon. I am putting it on my Amazon cart right now. because I buy from Amazon all the time, and I'm going to proceed to checkout. But I won't waste your time, but I am going to get it right away. So, but let me go to you for a moment now, Oscar. Tell us, I'm gonna do that. There we go. Tell us about the book. What's the journey for you in writing it, and what's the journey we're going to take in reading it?
Well, thank you for this opportunity to share this medicine with your viewing audience. And it's my third book, and it is the one that speaks the most to me because it includes narratives and stories by 26 other spectacular two-leggeds that have had deep personal healing and transformation through shamanic encounters with this imaginal multiverse, with this realm of archetype and of beauty and of vision that comes through non-ordinary states of awareness, that shamanism is so particularly useful and awakening in people's lives. So shamanism, personal quest of communion with nature and creation, consists of three parts. It is like a journey through the three worlds of shamanism: the upper, the middle, and the lower, or what we call in Kamasca, Curanderismo, and Papocuna in the Andes, in coastal areas, the superior celestial worlds, not the upper, this living, sentient, conscious world, and the inner or interior world, the Uhupacha, Hanakpacha, Kaipacha, Uhupacha. So the first part deals with the whole phenomena of shamanism. It's upper Paleolithic origins and how it's trickled in, and the areas where it emerged from, and its influence in the modern day world, as well as a core understanding both of its phenomenology or its experiential dimensions, as well as its practices and its methodology and its ways of being brought into your own life as a tool for your own spiritual sadhana, for your own practice. The second part consists of these stories, of these episodes that have been transformational, and there's nothing like storytelling. Storytelling is so shamanic. It's one of the core shamanic practices we have to keep the vision of our ancestors alive, as well as to create a new narrative for the new earth that we all know is right about to be midwifed right now as we are holding space on this show. Every one of you here are midwives of this new, what we call Taripaipacha, the age of reencounter, where all people from all walks of life realize they all share the same color of blood. And no matter what their ideological persuasion or their cultural affinity or background is, they realize that if we are not doing the great work united, there's no way that we will survive as a planetary species. Pachamama Gaia has no problem surviving as a sentient living being. Yet humankind is much more fragile. And so that compilation of stories addresses the issue of how our own personal transformational experiences, our own awakening, can contribute to the flourishing of the whole. And the last part is a series of practices derived from my over 30 years of teaching the cross-cultural shamanic tradition through the Pachacuti Mesa tradition of cross-cultural shamanism, as well as my final reflection on how the earth is now becoming once again receptive to groups of people that are gardeners, that are planters of the seeds of a new emergence of what we call the Hatun Wilka, Hanakpacha, Intiki Aruna, the lunar, solar children of the earth. And it is part of the great work that we've inherited from the Andean peoples of the millenary cultures of Peru. So in a nutshell, it's a journey from the beginning of shamanism into the contemporary experience of shamanism offered by these beautiful souls, some of them my students, some of them I have not known, and ends with reflections on how you can practice this with core techniques and methods, as well as a vision, a new creation story, a new narrative for our earth, born of unitive consciousness as a species. And that's the best way I could describe the book, my brother. Thank you.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done. I've put the link into the chat box here in Zoom and on a couple of the main Facebook pages. But again, it's called Shamanism, Personal Quests of Communion with Nature and Creation. And I encourage everybody to order it right away. And I want to just acknowledge Ariel from Sacred Stories, who connected us and made this show happen. So thank you, Ariel. She's a gem who's brought many wonderful authors. One of the authors that works with her, Sister Jenna, who I'll be meeting. Sister Jenna's coming to Sedona this weekend for the film festival. Oscar, I want to share with you what one of our readers just wrote. I think you'll appreciate it. And then we're going to go to Omashar for a song. Eleanor Joy, I'm going to put her on camera, but I'll read what she wrote. Eleanor Joy just wrote, "My plant medicine consists not of something ingested, but it's a small Gary oak tree courageously growing on a small mountain near where I live. She called out to me for a while before I even heard her. Now I hug her, share my love with her, and listen to her when she shares a message and her love with me. She's my inner innocent child, playful, curious, adventurous, loving, and wanting to share that love and all things inherent in our inner child. Her name is Joyelle, and I feel her and hear her, whether I'm on the mountain or anywhere else. We are etherically bonded." I've got tears. I've got tears reading that, Eleanor. That is so beautiful.
Spectacular, Eleanor, that you have captured so beautifully the sentience, the awareness, the consciousness of our plant relatives. And exactly, we do not need to imbibe or take into the body when you're at the level that you have attained of reflexive, self-reflexive awareness of camaraderie with the living earth, as epitomized in your relationship with this beautiful tree. Everyone gets there. Yet, as the great master teacher in the Sermon on the Mount said, the first will be last, the last will be first. So little by little, my good sister, thank you for being an example for all of us.
Yeah.
May I add something to this? May I at this time?
Yeah.
I'm so touched by what you wrote, Eleanor, as well, of course. How could I not be? I remember when I was, I don't know, maybe like 12 years old or something, there was a large tree on my family's, in our yard, on our property. And the tree developed some form of like a weeping wound of some kind of a sore. It wasn't sap. There was something not right with the tree. And I remember my parents talking about this. Oh, we have to do something about the tree. What should we do? And it was a kind of in everybody's awareness that there was something going on with this tree. It was in a prominent place in the yard. And I made some kind of a pole. I don't really even know what I was doing. I only know that I was drawn to make some kind of a poultice out of mud and some other leaves and some other things. And I remember making this and then putting it on the wound on the tree. And then I took some vines that were growing nearby and I wrapped the vines around this mud poultice on the wound of the tree. And the tree healed. And I think I have always understood that there's an ongoing communication between the plants and between us, whatever the flowers or the plants are. And I have no training as a gardener. I have an extremely prolific, and we might say, I don't know, enjoyable or successful some garden in my house. But I really trust that I hear the plants. You know, I hear a gladiola, I hear a daisy, I hear a peony. And so I just know what to do and where to place these things and how to take care of them, because I think that they've always spoken to me. And I think that I've always heard them, even though there was no reflected support around that as I was growing up. So I'm very personally touched, and given the nature of our conversation today, how beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you again. Thanks for sharing that, Sophia. Thank you, Eleanor Joy. That was beautiful. Eleanor Joy also sometimes dances for us, and she's our dance leader along with Jeffrey Colebrook. And you're going to have a chance to do that in a moment, Eleanor Joy, because I was just so touched by what's happening. I think it's time for us to go to beloved brother Omar Shar for some music. But before music, Omar Shar, what's standing out for you from today's show so far?
What's standing out for me is just the heart-centered approach of both of our beautiful guests, your beautiful guests, and just feeling Oscar with us. I just feel grounded, and I feel brought into myself. I don't have much cerebral activity. I just feel that which is nurturing and that which I need. So when we're done today, I'm going to go out for a nice walk, hug a few trees, and all of that kind of good stuff, because it's so important. I usually start the day, no matter how cold it is, with going outside bare feet, just to ground and just to remind myself of where my origins and where I'm from. And so maybe now we could just put our hands on our heart, take a deep breath. And this is a sing-along chorus song. We've sung it before, hey, but that's life. And it's in the chat box is the chorus. If you choose to sing, keep yourself muted, please. Well, whatever. But, yeah. Eleanor.
I felt alone for oh so many years, held my head high to hide the pain, nowhere to turn, so to myself again I tune my heart to the mother, 'cause I am one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all healing, and one with all. I am one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all healing, and one with all The time has come to wake my sleepy head and peel back the sheets of illusion. The time has come to lift my voice once more and sing the songs of the new world. I am one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all healing, and one with all. I am one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all feeling, healing, one with all. Hum. Deep breath. The time has come.
Oh, Twinkle, beautiful, beautiful Omashar. Thank you so much. And Eleanor, I love your Halloween costume. Thank you. That's awesome. And Wowza is in the house. So wow. Hey. Oh gosh. There's beautiful Omashar. Thank you so much.
Always welcome.
We've got time for one more question. I'm going to bring Oscar and Sophia on, and I'm going to remove myself while I read the question. This is kind of a heart-wrenching one to some degree. This is from Maggie, also on Facebook. She says, thank you very much for this beautiful show. Watching these shows every weekend is my lifeline. However, I am permanently bedridden due to a terminal medical condition. And so when I speak, or when I hear people speak of going out into nature, I appreciate it, and it also brings me sadness, for I cannot do that. Do either of you have any suggestions for how I can connect to the nature kingdoms from my bed? Sophia, why don't you go first, and then Oscar?
Okay. Maggie, thank you so much for asking that question. It's actually a really important question, and I am sad for you, with you. And I'm wondering, what is it that you're seeing from your bed? What are you looking at? Are you looking at a night table filled with medications, bookshelves, chairs, things like this? Or do you have a view outside? And if you have a view outside, what is that view of? So if it's possible, and I am hoping that it is, and I am hoping that you have allies and helpers, I would very strongly encourage the making of as much beauty in your sightline as possible. If that means indoor potted flowering plants, if that means a window box, if that means helpers and allies can do something outside of that window. But I believe so strongly that what we see has a direct impact on what we feel and what we believe. And so that would be my suggestion. In my home, every week, I have fresh flowers, and lots of them. Some are from my garden and some I just purchased. But every Friday, I'm almost in a ritualistic experience of taking out the old flowers and adding new flowers. So any living thing from the plant kingdom that you can bring either into your room or your sight line, I think would be helpful to you. At least I certainly hope so.
Beautiful. She hasn't responded yet, but if hopefully she will, and I'll read her response. Oscar, what would you like to share with Maggie and anybody else that can relate to that question?
Well, I resonate quite well with what Sophia has just shared. And we also have our inner vision, our vista, our sight. I ask Maggie and everybody here on the show to place your left palm toward the screen and place your right palm over your koshko, your hara, your dantian, your lower field of elixir, the center within your body, place in which your umbilicus connected to your mother's womb as you floated in that amniotic universe that predated your emergence into the world of form here on earth, nurtured you. It was your world. It was Mother Nature. It was the ocean of your beginnings. So know that you are connected to every world. And speak the following words, please. I am immortal in being, beyond form, fearlessly free to be, all worlds, times, and places that summon me. Again, I am immortal in being, beyond form, fearlessly free to be, all worlds, times, and places that summon me. Exhale all the air from your lungs. Hold on the exhalation. Begin to take a deep, full breath through the nose as you scoop up our connection to this wisdom teaching with your left hand, placing it over your heart. Retain your breath, crystallizing it in consciousness, and gently exhale through the nose, allowing your breath to transit effortlessly, unhindered throughout your physical vehicle, out of the soles of your feet, anchoring you into our living, sentient Earth Mother, Pachamama. That simple exercise, no matter where you find yourself, will allow your communion with nature and creation in a shamanic manner, my good sister Maggie. This is the gift that I am to offer at this point. Thank you.
Thank you so very, very much. As we're getting ready to conclude, I would love for you to share with us, Oscar, about the Heart of the Healer Shamanic Mystery School, which you're the co-founder. Please tell us, is this an online school? Is it in person? Is it both? How do we study with you?
Boy, thank you so much for allowing this sharing. The Heart of the Healer, Thoth, Thoth, the thrice great Hermes Trismegistus. Some of you may know of him. He's been associated with the Kabbalion and with several of the other mystery schools, Hermetic traditions, Gnostic orders of the past. I founded the Heart of the Healer as a vehicle through which the Pachacuti Mesa tradition of cross-cultural shamanism could be disseminated. I founded it in 1992, and it's now morphed into being a shamanic mystery school, which with my beloved wife, Cynthia Louise Weber Miro Quesada, we are the co-founders of the mystery school. I began the Heart of the Healer, or Thoth, as a means of bridging the world's wisdom traditions in a manner that highlighted their shamanic origins, their shamanic foundation. And it is, initially, it was all just in-person teachings. I have various apprenticeship programs that have developed over the years, introductory, intermediate, advanced, and we have a cadre of 25 sanctioned teachers in the lineage of the Camasca and Curandero traditions of Peru that I've been privileged to apprentice in. And just visit theheartofthehealer.org and you'll see a wealth of information that will help you navigate through the offerings that we have there. But we have 3 different wisdom paths we offer, both in-person apprenticeships as well as online virtual apprenticeships. The Pachacuti Mesa tradition, which is all shamanism, the divine feminine consciousness, which my beloved wife Cindy is in charge of in her beautiful way, and ancestral star wisdom, in which we explore our relationship with our star relatives that have influenced the emergence of galactic consciousness in the hearts of so many shamanic practitioners since time immemorial. Many of these programs have been already offered through the Shift Network, so we have them on-demand offerings that you can purchase through the Heart of the Healer. And then you can also look at all of our teachers and see which ones appeal to you, that you can go ahead and engage in one of the apprenticeships that they offer. This is really work from the heart. This is a group of remarkable souls, some of them that have been with me over 30 years, learning these traditions and co-creating this vision of service for our planet. And some of them are, more recent, yet each one of them has died and been reborn many times before. And they keep themselves out of the story when it comes to being hollow bones for the transmission of this ancestral wisdom from the Andes and coastal and Amazon regions of Peru. The purpose of it is to revitalize sacred trust between humankind and the natural world. That's why I'm even a friendly holographic projection right now of your need to see a Don Oscar on screen, because I'm just a projection that takes form once in a while when necessary.
I love it.
Yet, thank you for allowing me to share what we have in our offerings.
Oscar, it's been such a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you so very, very much. And I hope you'll come back soon.
Yes, sir.
I would love that. I also want to thank you, Sophia, for being on the show, jumping in on such short notice and jumping in and becoming someone that's become a very rapidly popular part of our awakening world. And again, I want to remind people that if they want more Sophia, and already some of our Global Peace Tribers have already reached out to her for therapy, but you can learn all about her or reach her by going to her website, which is her last name, Amargi, spelled AMARGI, and then therapy.com, amargitherapy.com. And thank you, Sophia. I know that we'll be communicating and connecting with you again also later on. Thank you. Well, we're close to Halloween, and I was going to have more of a All Hallows Eve kind of theme, but I'm so glad we went in the direction that we did. But since it is close to that time, our old friend Jay Mayer last year put together, you might remember, for those of you that used to watch my show, Saturday Night Live, he would do wisdom jewels. And so he put together a new wisdom jewel for us just to kind of get us ready for All Hallows Eve. So let's take a look at what Jay put together for us. Right? I miss those wisdom jewels. We're going to have to see if we can get Jay to start doing them for us again. That was really, that was fun. And I do want to wish everybody a very sacred Samhain. And between now and next week, All Hallows Eve, Secret Samhain. And I do want to let you know what we're going to be doing next weekend. We're collaborating once again, every 2 or 3 months, we collaborate with the Evolutionary Leaders Network. And next weekend, we've got 3 shows, all with members of the Evolutionary Leaders Network. Oscar is such a member. And so on Friday night, our theme for the weekend is Calling Team Light. That's all of us as we co-create our future. And my co-host will be Reverend Deb Moldau. And we've got several people, including Anadea Judith, who's really, really a longtime friend of mine. And then on Saturday night, we're going to continue with that theme. I'll bring up that poster. And Oscar, you're going to love Sunday, so stick around for what I have to say, because I just got a message for me to share. But on Saturday night, again, co-hosting with Reverend Deb, one of my dearest friends in the world will be our other musical artist, along with Omashar, Lakshmi Del Sesto, a wonderful woman and a brilliant artist, will be playing music. And Mama Ivy will be coming back, speaking and doing sound healing. And then we've got this woman, Kasha, coming in from Europe. And so that's going to be fun. And then on Sunday, most of you know that Kristen Hoffman is one of my favorite co-hosts, and she'll be co-hosting with us on Sunday. And once again, it's her Artists Catalyzing Evolution. And so Kishi Chai, Kara Steinhaus, Lisa Witter, Kwajo will all be coming in and talking about how these artists, these are all brilliant artists, are helping us to wake up and catalyzing evolution. And Kristen's been watching, and so when she saw Oscar talking about his mystery school, this is what she wrote. Oscar really has been one of the people on my path who has impacted me the most, and he probably isn't even aware of this. The times in sacred space with Oscar have been deeply moving, illuminating, reconnective, and have guided me to greater alignment with my soul's mission. I consider him one of my greatest mentors, and I have the deepest respect for him and his wife, Cindy, and all they do in this world. And then more emojis than I could possibly describe. So that's from our beloved sister, Kristen Hoffman, to you, Oscar, and an encouragement for all of us to go deeper into this study with this wise gentleman. And again, we'll have Kristen with us a week from today on this very show. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to go to the gallery view, turn on your cameras, twinkle away, and thank you so much. It's been a beautiful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next weekend.
Thank you for all you do, my good brother Scott, and everybody in your team. Wonderful.
My pleasure. Thank you, Oscar. It's an honor. It's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. Thank you, Scott. I'm really kind of loving this. And Oscar, how wonderful to meet you. I'd love to follow up and have some conversation outside of this modality, we might say. So thank you. And thank you so much, Scott.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Happy Halloween.